Hi, and welcome to Z Games. Recorded live at 4ZZZ Studios in Brisbane and broadcast nationally over the Community Radio Network, Z Games brings you the latest gaming news, reviews and interviews from across Australia and around the world.
Welcome again to another exciting episode of your favourite radio show and mine, Z Games. It is Australia's most beloved gaming radio show. We are coming to you from the 4ZZZ Studios in Brisbane, and you are also possibly listening to us around the nation due to the Community Radio Network. Razor is in here.
Hey there.
There he is.
G'day.
As is Mr. Jody McGregor.
Yes, I am. Hello.
Hey, there's that guy. And Alana, you are also here.
I am here. Hello.
Hi.
What's up?
It's a real shame that the listeners can't see your beanie.
Yeah, it's a beanie.
It's a piece
Certainly
of...
is.
It's a piece of work, is what it is.
For some reason, it makes me feel like some kind of elf.
Yeah.
I know that it's not elvish at all. It's like this green, yellow, and red knitted, woolly concoction. But for some reason, I feel elfish. I don't.
It's big enough to be an actual hood.
Yeah.
I think it's that it makes me feel like Link.
Yeah.
Is
If
what
Link
it
was
is.
a Rasta, that is what.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's Rasta Link.
Yeah,
That's
totally.
it.
Yeah, I was just came cosplaying. That's what's up.
Nice. Razor, what were we just listening to?
That's a question for Jody, I believe.
That was Orange Caramel, who are a K-pop act. It's called My Copycat.
And on this episode of Z Games, we have a lot of stuff to get through. Destiny being the first on the agenda. Alana and I have been playing that game. Massive hype.
Yes.
You may have been aboard the hype wagon.
I was on a bus that had hype for it on the side. I guess that's technically...
Oh, that's everywhere.
Yeah.
Does that make you guys happy? Whenever I see advertising for games in something like really, really public, like on a billboard or on a bus, I'm like, yeah, we're being taken seriously. They're marketing to us in public.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really like seeing it on buses.
I used to be impressed by that, and now I'm just like, ads, no.
I suppose.
Yeah.
But, I mean, they could put ads for beauty products on the side of a bus, but no, they put ads for Destiny everywhere.
On the other side of the spectrum, though, we have a game from a smaller developer, that being
Double Fine.
Double Fine. Yes. So small I could barely remember their name. And Jody, you've been playing Hack and Slash.
Yes, I have. A game that will not be advertised on buses because it's too weird. It's a fantasy video game about computer hacking.
But shall we get this episode started with the week in gaming news headlines? Mr. Jody McGregor?
Sure thing. Microsoft has announced that they will acquire Minecraft studio Mojang in a deal worth $2.5 billion. Confirmation of the acquisition came as a surprise to many fans due to company founder Marcus Person's well-publicized aversion to the practices of large game companies. Person, better known as Notch, will leave the company when the deal closes at the end of the year, alongside company co-founders Carl Manner and Jacob Porser. Beginning as a one-man project in 2009, Minecraft has since gone on to sell over 54 million copies across almost all current platforms, including PC, Xbox 360, Xbox One, PS3, PS4, PS Vita, iOS, and Android. Xbox head Phil Spencer said that they would continue to make Minecraft available to all platforms, including PlayStation. In a statement posted to his personal blog, Notch wrote, "Thank you for turning Minecraft into what it has become, but I can't be responsible for something this big. It's not about the money, it's about my sanity."
There was actually a video that Notch referenced regarding his reasons for wanting to leave, and I watched the video. It's called This Is Phil Fish.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah.
A really interesting point in that video was that when you become somewhat popular on the internet, you become a symbol and everyone else becomes an audience, and therefore everything that you say is taken as talking to your audience instead of talking to another individual. And I feel like every single thing that he says, if he's ever rude or ever even honest with someone, will be taken as him not caring about his fans or him not caring about the people who made Minecraft, when really he's just trying to have a conversation with someone. And that's got to be a lot of pressure, especially when you think about it in the scale of things. Minecraft became very popular very, very quickly. Like, that would just be terrifying to deal with, the amount of people who now hawk every single thing you do as a symbol or an icon and not as a person.
And especially with Notch, who is the only game developer that, like, every 10-year-old knows the name of.
Yeah.
He's in a pretty unique and weird position.
Yeah. Also, $2.5 billion. You don't turn that down under any
I wonder how much of that
circumstances.
he got, though.
I've heard that...
Well,
He's the principal owner of the company, so more than 50%.
And you'd think he'd
But-
still have shares, but
I understand that Mojang itself gets, like, 1.6 and he gets the leftover, so 0.9 of $1 billion.
That's before tax, and they're
Yeah.
Swedish.
Yeah.
And in Sweden, high-income earners pay 79% in tax,
Oh, wow.
which is why Sweden is such a lovely place to live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Microsoft just gave a lot of money to the Swedish
Yeah.
healthcare system.
Good work. And we also mentioned there that Microsoft said that it will be available on all platforms, including PlayStation. But making it available, they can now do that under their own terms. Like, they could say, we will make it available for you if you give us $1 billion, which would then be PlayStation declining to have Minecraft and not Microsoft not making it available. They can do whatever they want, really.
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised if we saw some Microsoft exclusive DLC or
Definitely.
or any other things like that to help boost the Microsoft platform.
Yeah, but like the best way to have a monopoly is to end up being, indispensable on your competitor's product as well. Like, that's what they want to do. They want to make sure that, like, there's no way that you can't have a PlayStation without having Microsoft's own Minecraft on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because, I mean, in all of the studios that Microsoft has bought before, they haven't really done anything all that bad in terms of microtransactions. Like, what they've done is completely ruined studios like Rare.
Oh yeah.
They've just ruined them completely. But like Bungie and Rare, neither of them have really had microtransactions or heaps of DLC. So I don't actually know if all of this bad stuff we're assuming will happen. They haven't really done that in the past, but they're obviously going to do something.
And also, I guess the other question is, if you buy Mojang, which made Minecraft, and Minecraft now exists and is essentially complete, what have you bought if all the people who made that, or the primary people who created that, are also gone? You've got certainly control of that empire now, and you have that captive audience, but you don't necessarily have, like, is Minecraft 2 going to be a thing? Like,
I feel
what
like
do you do
it
with
will.
that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like that
think
has to be the next step.
I think the audience is what they wanted to buy, the
Yeah.
community that
Yeah.
still exists
Yes.
around Minecraft
Yeah.
and is still paying money for servers.
Yeah,
and
they're
things like
buying
that.
Minecraft,
That's
not Mojang.
who they want.
Yeah.
Because Mojang, remember, they're a one-hit wonder, right? I mean, they've had massive
even have
success
any
with
other games?
They have. They've
Scrolls.
had Scrolls,
Oh,
but
right,
that's
yeah.
barely on the radar. Actually, I played that earlier.
I did too.
Didn't really care for
Didn't
it that
like
much.
it at all.
And then they had 10 to the Sea, which is a space game that kind of fizzled out, never really got into alpha stage even.
Yeah, Notch actually had to abandon that. That was his little personal project, and yeah, the monolith that was Minecraft meant that he couldn't actually dedicate any time to that.
So I don't know. I feel like one of the things that could realistically happen would be if they developed their own servers. Like, you know how there are Minecraft servers that are like Hunger Games and stuff like that, and develop those exclusive for the Xbox. That's probably one of the easier things to do that doesn't just become microtransactions and just ruin the game completely. More skins. I don't know. It's hard to say.
Yeah.
I'm also a bit, one thing is why Microsoft? I know that Mojang and Microsoft have had
What's
that
everyone
working
else doing?
relationship. And I realize that there aren't many companies that are of the scale that could purchase Mojang. But I remember just a couple of years ago when Notch was asked by Microsoft to optimize Minecraft
Oh, for Windows.
for Windows 8.1, Notch replied back, I wish you guys would stop trying to ruin PC as an open platform. So, to sell his company to that
Wow.
company, it's a little bit...
Surely they're not the only ones that have offered. Like, surely not.
Well, actually, during the sale of Oculus, someone was saying, you don't turn down $2 billion, and Notch's quote was, "I have." So I guess it
There's
must
a
have been-
reason.
You get to 2.5, and that's the point where he says yes.
I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how it all unfolds either way.
Definitely. The PC version of Grand Theft Auto 5 has been delayed. Originally scheduled to launch alongside the PS4 and Xbox One versions in November, the expected date is now the 27th of January next year. At this stage, the PS4 and Xbox One versions are still on track for release on the 18th of November. Developer Rockstar has said that the new versions will feature several upgrades, including improved graphics, increased traffic density, new weapons, and additional wildlife.
Damn them.
Does this mean it's not a port, though?
It is being upgraded pretty significantly. They're adding new music, new radio stations, or
Yeah.
at least more songs to the existing stations
New
and
mixes.
whole new animals. So
Yeah.
that means they have to program
I think
AI
there's
for them. There's going to be
also-
cats.
Yeah.
Cats,
Really?
for God's sake.
Oh, that's
Cats.
exciting. There's also new hunting missions,
Yeah.
wildlife photography. If you pre-order, you get like $500,000 for GTA Online, bunch of stuff like that. But so if they're upgrading that much of it, then I guess it can't be a port for PC. Like, I just can't think of a reason why they delayed it. Unless,
because they've got to optimize it and they're bad
yeah.
at that.
Well, that's good though.
Well,
Because
yeah.
other people have just done it anyway and been like, yeah, this is not optimized. Play the thing.
Yeah, but I mean, Rockstar
Dark
have
Souls.
also released GTA games delayed on the PC with, a terrible hack
San
job
Andreas
of-
was pretty bad.
Yeah.
GTA 4
GTA
wasn't
4
great.
was, yeah. So, we'll see how
Yeah.
they go.
Telstra will shut down all Game Arena services, including game servers, website, and forums, on the 20th of October. Game Arena, at one point, was one of the most popular server hosts for PC gamers in Australia, offering servers for Counter-Strike, Battlefield, Team Fortress, and Quake, among countless others.
Yeah, I remember back in the day very fondly playing Battlefield and Team Fortress, and it was always on Game Arena servers. So,
I played Counter-Strike on Game Arena.
and they used to have like a fully fledged website with a full crew of games writers, and they were like one of the
Joe Gilroy.
one of the go-to places for gaming news. So
They were one of the first ever people to pay me for a review.
Wow.
And now they're gone.
Yeah.
It's apparently because Telstra wants to like refocus their media strategy or some PR crap like
Yeah.
that.
Or they actually just realized that they were still paying for them and no one had told
Well,
them
they were
that
actually
doing
like the
that.
staff working on Game Arena were actually earning a lot of money as well,
Yeah.
like a lot of money for what they were doing, and I don't think Telstra really thought about it. They were just like, well, they seem to be doing something good, but I don't know. It kind of sucks though, because that was one of the things that Australia had done really well. Like, we've got IGN AU and GameSpot AU, but Game Arena as a website was kind of independent of any of those international kind of branches, and it actually did a really good job. So, kind of sucks.
Hello and welcome back to Zed Games. You really did just hear Chubby Checker singing about Dig Dug. Now, a game that is on everybody's lips at the moment is Destiny. The entire internet won't shut up about it. Ray, you've actually been playing it.
Yes.
And so have you, Alana?
I have.
On which platform?
I'm playing on the Xbox One.
I'm playing on the PS4.
Oh,
Fight.
Face Off.
So this is Bungie's first original IP since Halo, one of the most influential first-person shooters of the console era, for sure. And there is a massive snowball of hype, as Jody mentioned for it. You may have caught an advertisement or a billboard somewhere. And this isn't the first game to receive this amount of attention this year. I mean, we've had Watch Dogs and Titanfall, both original properties that have launched, and in those instances, the product fell a bit short of what we expected it to be. The hype outweighed the end result, as it were. So we're here to tell you, is Destiny the same, or is it as amazing as they want us to believe it is? What do you think, Alana?
Destiny is the same. I'm extremely disappointed by Destiny. I probably should have reviewed it by now for work, but I can't bring myself to play enough of it that I need to review it because I'm so bored. It's not that it's a bad game. I mean, the shooting mechanics in Destiny are fantastic. They're really hard to flaw. Everything runs perfectly. It's really smooth. It's just that it's really, really repetitive, and the game doesn't have any sense of humor or really any personality. So playing it just feels like doing the same missions over and over and over again in slightly different settings. And even like with the way that, because it's an MMO, with the way that it all links together, you just jump from one mission to another, and often the spawn points for each mission are exactly the same. Whereas in other FPSs, it's like a journey to get through from one firefight to another. You're actually progressing, whereas this is just jump to that same point and then travel somewhere slightly different, or even travel to the same place and just take a left and something happens. And I don't understand what the entire point of the game is, really.
Yeah.
Why?
That's damning.
I really don't like it.
This is despite the fact that it's one of the most expensive games ever produced. Some people have said $500 million.
Yeah, so the Activision CEO said it was $500 million, but then Bungie said it wasn't. So somewhere slightly less than that. They didn't say how much, though, so...
Yeah, and there certainly is a lot of talent on board for Destiny, though. Peter Dinklage is your companion. He's a main character throughout the whole thing.
The only character, even?
Pretty much.
Is still Nai in there somewhere?
Yes. Yes, he is. Yeah.
There's at least 2 characters in the game.
Nathan Fillion.
And
Good voice actors.
Lance Reddick, better known as the tall guy from The Wire with the interesting voice.
No idea.
Yeah.
There's some people they paid some money for.
Yeah, lots of money.
Even
didn't really pay off.
Paul McCartney wrote a song for the soundtrack as well.
Yeah, for free, apparently. He just did it because he wanted to. There wasn't any kind of deal there, which is good. So, I mean, they have put a lot of money into it, and it's obvious that it's a fully functional game. Everything works really well. This is like the first time I can even remember that I've had to review something and it was online and it didn't just crash on me repeatedly when I first started it up. I started playing at 10 p.m. and the servers were up too early. It was supposed to go off at 12 a.m. Started playing at 10 p.m. Perfectly fine. There was like virtually no one there, but everything has run incredibly well. I've been kicked maybe 5 times all up just for like little errors and then just gone back into it, resumed from where I was, and everything's fine. So that's definitely in its favor. It works. It's a functional game.
The game works.
Yes.
Right. That is
A+.
That's your box quote.
Well, that is good because, remember, it's an online-only experience.
Yes.
So we've seen in the past some
SimCity.
games... Yeah, SimCity, Diablo, etc. These games that have been online-only, and then when it comes to launch, everything goes to hell, and people are like, what the hell are you guys doing?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's an online shooter. It's an online-only shooter, but it's you versus the computer. How does it deal with lag, being that we are in Australia?
I haven't had any.
Well, there are Australian servers
Oh, okay.
that launched on launch date.
Yeah.
So there's no noticeable lag at all.
That's also really good then.
Yeah. And it's supposed to be an MMO.
This is a massive multiplayer online.
Yes.
You left off the G.
What?
I don't know.
Mamog?
Yeah.
But it doesn't feel like one at all.
Right.
I don't think it really wants you to play it as one, and everyone's saying it's so much more fun if you play it with other people. Everything's more fun when you play it with other people, right?
Yes.
But Destiny doesn't really invite you to play with other people. Like in Diablo, someone just press starts and jumps into your game.
Yep.
Done. In Destiny, in some missions, you can't even do that. It'll say this person can't join at this time while you're in the middle of a mission. It doesn't let you just automatically do all that. It's really hard to talk to anyone. You can dance with people really easy, which I do every single time I see someone.
A lot of dancing.
Every single time. But that's about it. That's the only form of communication that you have. So while it's multiplayer, you never actually feel like you're really playing with anyone.
Yeah.
I've been feeling very lonely in the game as well.
Yeah.
Yes, Ray, you were saying earlier that you don't have any friends.
Well, I bought it on the PS4 because I wanted the next-gen experience, you know. But I'm kind of regretting that now because if I had bought it on a previous-gen console, there may have been more of my friends that are playing it.
And you get the free upgrade.
That's right. So no one on my friends list has a PS4, so it's just me playing. And
even then, it's hard to coordinate, though. Like, plenty of people on my friends list are playing it, but at all at different times. No one's on at the same time, so it's just easier to play by myself.
Yeah, and it's quite hard solo without friends. I think some of the encounters are
The
geared...
raids or whatever they are.
Yeah, they're balanced for groups of 3, and if you're playing solo, it's quite frustrating because they throw a lot of hordes at you, and you have to
That's
really...
all the game is.
Pretty
Throwing
much.
hordes at you. I'm so disappointed. But I have seen a lot of the community saying really positive things. I just can't figure out why. Usually I can be like, I don't like this game, but I can figure out why this group of people might like it. This one, I just don't understand why anyone enjoys it.
Yeah. So have you coordinated with friends any missions? Or
I have. Yeah, and that sure was fun, but not in any kind of way that makes me like the game more. Like, it was definitely fun, but that was really just because of our banter. It wasn't because of the game itself. It was just the talking and the chatting, but that was it. It's too hard for me to excuse that or be like, you have to play it with these people, this makes the game good, because it doesn't make it inviting for you to actually play it with other people.
And there's no way to communicate with other players besides those that are in your fire team, your small group of 3.
Yeah.
So it's...
So you might see people running around.
Yeah, it feels like you're in a bit of a bubble. And you can dance, and that's, like we said before, there's a lot of dancing, and that's about the only way you can communicate with other people.
Yeah.
It's a game where people are desperately, like, dancing at one another, hoping to... Like,
Look, I get
convey
really
some meaning?
happy every time it happens.
Yeah.
Every time I see someone, I will start dancing, like without fail, which isn't all that often really. But anytime someone dances back, it's just the best day ever.
Right.
It's the highlight of the game.
And in real life as well.
Yeah,
Yeah. She's dancing right now.
constantly
folks.
dancing.
Just dancing.
Have either of you tried to play against other players in the Crucible where you
I haven't.
fight?
Yes, I've actually spent more time in the Crucible, I think, than in the PVE modes, and yeah, it's pretty good actually. It's not too bad. It's unsurprisingly a lot like Halo. A lot of the same aesthetics, and it feels a lot like Halo mechanically as well. The fact that you can double jump is cool. You can,
Yeah, the jetpacky
yeah,
things.
you can
I
kind of
love
just
that.
shoot off into
Yeah.
the sky to get out of tricky situations. The downside is though that you don't have much control in the air, so you're a bit of a
And it's terrible.
easy
yeah, if
target.
you want to get down, you can't. But I do have a lot of fun with that too.
Yeah, there's the classic game modes like Deathmatch and Team Deathmatch. There's also a Battlefield-like Conquest mode where you have to take control of control points around the map.
So you know how in the main campaign you get gear and stuff, and you can upgrade as you level up. I have my grenade thing does like extra damage, and you can like swap between different types or whatever. You have basically upgrades RPG style, the way that you don't have in Halo.
Yes,
Do you also have those in the Crucible?
you do, but leveling is scaled back, so
Yeah.
everyone's on the same level. Whether you're a level 6 guy going up against a level 20 guy, damage is sort of standardized
Right.
across, but
You still have those like
you
little
still have the
custom-
same weapons, your perks,
Yeah,
your
okay.
super moves, those carry over. So if you are a higher level, there are definitely some advantages. You just won't crush people who are at lower level than you.
So do you level up in the Crucible?
Yes, you get experience points.
So you're just basically matched like in Halo against people who are vaguely the same level as you?
No,
in the
not at
Crucible?
all. When I joined, I was like level 6 or 7, and I was going up against people from all levels.
Okay.
So yeah, I was getting crushed a little bit in the start, but it's not as unfair. Another thing to note about the multiplayer PvP is, I don't know, the netcode or something is a bit off. There's like hit registration is a bit wacky. I remember on more than one occasion I would kill someone, they would kill me at the exact same time, but I was throwing a melee hit, and what happened was I punched him, and then he shot me to death, and then my punch registered on him after I was dead, which when you think about it, shouldn't be allowed to happen.
Well, no, you don't even really need to think about it.
Yeah.
That should
Yeah.
not have happened.
So there's a few tiny bugs like that that are definitely noticeable enough for me to make note of them there.
I'm really keen to try it. I just need to get myself through the actual main campaign first, and I'm just finding that so hard. Like, I just don't want to play it. Like, I need to play this. This is important. And it's the same thing over and over again.
I've kind of rage quit a few times as well.
Yeah.
Just because there's a few sections in the game where you can't just respawn and jump back into where you were. You have
because
to
of
start.
the darkness.
Yeah, the darkness. You have to restart the entire encounter again.
Now let's just be clear. The darkness is like the big bad enemy in the game, right?
Yeah.
In a really lame way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The darkness is a thing that pops up and says, there is darkness here, and so therefore you can't respawn in that area.
That sounds
Wherever you
like a bad
start to
guy.
enter the darkness, if you die in it, you have to start back from before you entered it.
Yeah.
It's just a mechanic.
Very frustrating.
Right.
And I don't know about you, Alana, but I got kind of sick of this mission where you hack a terminal and your ghost pops up and hacks it, and then you have to defend that terminal from
Do you
hordes.
mean every one?
Yeah,
You mean every mission,
that's
right?
every mission.
There was
So-
one where that didn't happen, where I hacked a terminal and didn't have to defend myself, and I was like, wow, maybe it's not going to be the same. And then the next 5, the same thing happened.
So it is really repetitive, even though you start off on Earth and then you go to the Moon and then you go to Venus and Mars.
I was excited to get to Venus. I was like, this looks different. And then I got there and I was like, oh, well, there's just some trees.
You're just doing the same thing you did on
Yeah.
Earth, and the missions are the same.
slightly different enemies, but
Yeah.
it's really just, there are a lot of games that are repetitive that, like, I think Borderlands is quite repetitive, but at least Borderlands makes up for that by being extremely entertaining. Like, they have these characters that are really funny, dialogue that's really funny, like, there's lots of things that go on, and there's heaps of personality, so it's easy to consume. Destiny doesn't have any of that. It's just sci-fi shell,
Yeah.
repetitive missions.
I know. I feel like it doesn't have love in it or something. Like the
I
magic
totally wanted
ingredient.
to say that it doesn't feel like it was made with any kind of passion. But that's like probably got to be the biggest insult that you can give a dev.
Yeah.
But it doesn't feel like it has any passion in it.
I think
really
it just
at all.
hasn't been conveyed. The love hasn't made it across to the audience. I think that's the problem. I'm sure there's love in there somewhere.
Surely somewhere.
Yeah.
We just haven't found it. There was one other thing I wanted to mention. The strikes and raids. They're basically where you enter an area and go up against heaps of hordes and then like a boss kind of enemy. And I've actually found those really fun because other people jump in your game even when you don't invite them to. Other people will just be there when you're doing them.
Right.
So, if you can't get a fire team together, they'll just add 2 or 3 people to whatever you're doing. And I really enjoyed those. Like, they were really, really hard. There's one that the first one that you might have done, Ray, which is against like a like a thing from Halo. It's like a tank, like a little scorpion tank, and you have to shoot the limbs.
Spider tank.
Yeah, exactly like Halo. And then you keep going and there's another little boss. I really enjoyed those for the level of challenge, and even though you are technically just shooting the whole time, they require quite a lot of strategy for you to actually live, and because you'll have other people with you, you can get picked up and stuff like that. So I really have enjoyed those, but they are pretty much disconnected from this story entirely.
Yeah, I do appreciate the challenge there as well. They've kind of gone out of their way to present something that will hopefully take players a long time to conquer, even if they are really dedicated. So I tip my hat to that regard. Yeah.
One small thing that bothers me on that front is that when you kill an enemy or a boss or whatever, you get loot like in any MMO, but it goes straight to your inventory. It's just like there and all organized pretty, and it tells you which one's the best. It like doesn't feel. You don't feel excited to get that loot and like walk over to the dead body and pick it up. It's just there.
You want the pinata effect where you smash the thing and the stuff.
And then it's like
comes
legendary
out.
weapon right there. And whereas this, it's just like you've got things in your inventory. This one is green, therefore it's the best.
It's like you've received email.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, and I find that so disappointing, but I'm sure it's just like a really minor thing.
My name is Reza, joined today by Jody, Alana, and Lee. We have been discussing Destiny, Activision's and Bungie's latest big budget first-person shooter / MMO hybrid. So far, we've spoken pretty
So far, you've hated the hell out of it.
negatively,
Yeah.
I would say.
Pair of negative Nancys.
What
Yeah.
level are you, Ray?
I'm level 20.
Okay. How does everyone just get to level 20? I've seen so many people screen cap themselves at level 20.
Well, I've been doing a lot of PvP stuff as well.
That
so
levels you up. I'm 14.
yeah, so you can level up playing against other players as well.
Okay, interesting. Because I've seen so many people just... Like, it goes beyond 20, right?
Well, there's a soft cap of 20, but then you can get gear that increases your level.
Right, okay. Interesting.
So that's the end game content, which I guess neither of us have experienced yet. Maybe we can revisit it in a future episode. But Bungie have said that once you hit the level cap and consumed all the content, there's another grind that you can undertake for gear. And you have to coordinate with your friends to beat these very difficult raids, one of which has been released. I think it has a suggested level of 26.
That was only like a few days ago.
Yes. And that way you can get legendary, awesome, epic gear to boost your dudes up.
I don't care. I don't want it. I just, it's good that they are trying to implement a lot of stuff for people to play once they finish the main game, because you can get through it pretty quick. Like, I'm level 14, I would say that's taken, 8 hours maybe a little bit longer. So it's, you can get through it pretty fast, but, and they've said that there's going to be a lot of stuff to do when you finish the game. I don't know if there's going to be that much, but if they keep adding raids in, then you can last forever. It's just going to be the same repetitive thing that...
I remember playing the alpha and the beta, and I came away pretty excited. There was a lot of potential there.
I really enjoyed the beta.
I was very excited about what this game could be. And it's sort of become apparent that it isn't as epic as I thought it was going to be. I thought that this was going to be a game that would keep me playing for weeks, maybe months. I would be content to chase that carrot on a stick, to go back to this game that was a sweet first-person shooter, but also had me grinding for gear and loot and stuff like that. And it seems like there's not that much content. Not as much as interesting content as I thought there was going to be, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, and if you do grind and you get the gear, for some reason, like, if I do that in something else, I will grind really hard to get something that I want and then be like, heck yeah, this is the best. I feel like if I did it in Destiny, I'd be like, what now?
Yeah.
Done. Okay.
I mean, in other MMOs, there are so many other things to do. There's a large range of ways that you can occupy your time and many goals you can go for. Here, there isn't many. You go around, you shoot aliens, and if you don't like that, tough luck.
You can
Yeah.
dance.
Yeah.
Even the marketplace
you want
doesn't
to.
really feel like an MMO marketplace. It just feels like this is the thing that you should buy now. You know, there's not like a lot of variety. There aren't a lot of people around. It doesn't feel bustling.
Yeah.
I usually really like going to MMO marketplaces and selling the stuff that I have to get more cool stuff, but I don't know. There's nothing exciting about it in Destiny.
Yeah. Another gripe I have is the fact that a lot of the game isn't explained very well, like the progression and exactly what you have to do. They kind
I
of.
still don't really know what happens in the story.
I'm not.
to be
yeah,
honest.
Well, the story's another thing. It's a lot of like sci-fi babble.
Sci-fi nothingness.
There's a lot of buzzwords and keywords like the darkness and the hive and the fallen, but you're never really given much else.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, definitely buzzwords.
But I just wasn't sure how this game was supposed to function mechanically. Like, I was directed to a vendor to get a prize, a piece of gear, and I saw that he had other gear for sale that I couldn't buy because I didn't have enough currency, but it was never explained to me how I acquired this currency and what I should do next in the game. You know, what was my
and
my
the
goal.
bounties and it's a lot of it is just shoot and play, and then other things feel like afterthoughts, I think. But do we have anything positive to say?
I think the shooting is good.
Mechanics are fantastic.
Yeah, I mean,
As a shooter, it's great.
and you know, it feels good to punch an alien in the face.
The melee's excellent.
Remember,
And there is one mission where you like wield a sword.
yes,
That was fun, but then
Yeah.
it got repetitive too.
the combat is great and it feels good, but there's just not enough variety in the missions and the encounters. But back on the melee thing, you remember in Independence Day when Will Smith punched an alien in the face and
Yeah.
said, "Welcome to Earth"?
How many times have you said that?
Every time.
Every time you punch an alien in the face, you just want to say, "Yeah, that," and it's as satisfying every time. It never gets old. That is great. That's one.
I do
thing.
also really like my super, which is just like because I played as a warlock, which is just like a thing that you charge up when you've killed a certain amount of enemies, and it's like a giant explodey purple ball, and it goes into third person when you're charging it up, and then you shoot it, and that's super satisfying. And every time I get that, I'm excited, and I do enjoy watching that kind of tick up and stuff. And I like that you can swap between. I usually have an assault rifle, a shotgun, and then a heavy weapon, which is a rocket launcher. Swapping between the three is really, really seamless. They all function perfectly well. Just mechanically, it is really, really good.
So you're saying that if they were to add more variety in the missions,
It'd be enjoyable, yeah,
Right.
if they made it slightly more like Halo.
I think they should improve the social functions as well a
Yeah,
little
definitely,
bit.
yeah.
Make it easier to group with other players. I know if you go into your settings, it says there's fire team settings and it's defaulted to. You're listening to Z Games on Triple Z me a lot, and I tried
It's not
changing
an
it.
MMO,
Yeah, I tried changing it to public a
but
lot.
nothing happens.
Well, it works, but the thing is that every time you log out and log back in, it resets to friends only. So you keep having to go back into the settings to change it, which I found annoying and a bit, disruptive.
But it's hard to find people anyway, even if they were to join you, which sucks. So yeah, I mean, it has the foundations of a really great game. The environments are quite pretty, even if they're similar, and there is enemy variety. It just if it weren't so damn repetitive, and like you said, encouraged social interaction better, then I feel like it would be great. It would be the game that we all wanted it to be,
Yeah.
but it's not.
I'm like I said before. I was excited by its potential. I'm still excited by its potential, but
I'm
the
still
game,
hanging on.
The game I want isn't here. I don't know whether
Yeah.
it's going to be in DLC or Destiny 2, but as it is now, Destiny is not the experience that I thought it was going to be, and
No.
I'm a little bit disappointed considering the considerable hype around it.
Yeah, it is a shame.
Okay, let's move this show along, and we're going to talk about Hack and Slash next. But before that, we're going to hear a song from the Hack and Slash soundtrack. Jody?
This is Paul O'Rourke with Inner Prison.
You were listening to Z Games. It is still your favourite radio show. That was a track from the Hack and Slash soundtrack, was it not, Jody?
It was,
You-
indeed.
You've been playing Hack and Slash, which is Double Fine's new game. They kind of released this on the sly. It was a thing that they didn't end up doing as a main project, ended up just having it be produced while they were working on their bigger games. Tell us all about it starting now.
All right. Hack and Slash is like a Legend of Zelda game where they've lifted the curtain so you can see how the game is made and then tweak with all of the settings behind how the game is made. You know how in The Legend of Zelda, Link spends a lot of time basically mowing the lawn, hacking at tall grass because hearts pop out because video games, and that's how he refills his health bar. In Hack and Slash, you have a sword, but your sword ends in a USB connector, and the bushes have plugs in them. So when you go ha with your sword, you're sticking your sword into that USB plug, and then a text box appears with a bunch of variables in it, like number of hearts, and you can alter that, and then like bush on fire equals false, and you can alter that, and as soon as you alter it to true, whoosh, the bush is on fire, and then a bunch of hearts come out. So instead of stabbing things and throwing boomerangs at them, you are altering the programming of the entire world to make it do your bidding.
Is that it?
Well, that's the beginning of it.
Okay.
It's a puzzle game. You're trying to do this sort of generic fantasy thing of saving the kingdom from an evil wizard, but the evil wizard is someone like you whose magic is hacking reality. So the puzzles, like, there's block sliding puzzles, but you go up to a block and stick your sword in it, and then you can alter how many times the block can be pushed, or and if you make the number of squares it travels negative, then when you push it, it'll move towards you instead. There are enemies, and you can hack them and make them stop being enemies and be your friend, or you can change their cone of vision so they just can't see you and you walk right past them, or you can set them to explode.
Is that hard?
It becomes hard. At the start, because there are multiple solutions to puzzles, it's actually pretty easy. Like, if you want to get past some guards, you can go up behind them and stick your sword into their backs and then hack them so that they can't see you, or so that they turn on each other, or so that they just don't care if they see you, so that they're just aggressive. False. But later in the game, it gets more and more complicated as it goes on, and you're not doing simple, obvious things like altering variables. You're actually messing around with algorithms. So huge blocks of text start appearing. Like at the start of the game, there's a gate, and you look into it, and it says, open equals false. You change that to true, and the gate opens, and that's how you unlock a gate. That's easy. But then later on, you're having to climb inside this tiny little world where you can mess around with the actual numbers behind things, and futz around with arguments and do mathematics and actually...
So if you do the wrong thing, will the puzzle need to reset? Can you break a puzzle?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
You actually get a magic item that lets you travel back in time that you have to use to reset puzzles if you screw them up. It is also possible to crash the entire universe by, changing sums so that they result in impossible numbers, and that has happened to me more than once.
How did you do that?
I don't know, because by a certain point, 80% of the way into the game, I stopped understanding anything that was happening around me. I don't know programming. I don't understand Lua or whatever this programming language it's written in is, and I'm not very good at maths. So I was just sort of tinkering with stuff instead of actually having an idea about what I could do to make a gate open or an invisible bridge appear or whatever puzzle I was trying to solve. And just entering in random things to see what happens stops working when that could crash the universe. Or when that involves a lot of walking around in this little world that exists behind the scene where all of the machines are. Like, you're not just typing in the new code that you want, you're actually walking around a room, sticking your USB sword into connectors and then altering the number and then walking down to the next one and trying that. And then you have to leave to make the whole thing complete and then find out what happens, which discourages experimentation.
Would you say it's inaccessible as a result? Like, a lot of people won't be able to play it or won't enjoy playing it?
A lot of people will be able to play the start of this and will never, ever finish it.
It sounds like a game that was made by game developers for other game developers.
Absolutely. Or for people who have at least a basic understanding of code and programming, which I think includes a lot of core game nerd dudes who are going to be baffled that other people don't understand this stuff. But I don't, and I'm not alone in this. I've seen other people on Twitter who are playing this game get stuck at the exact same point.
Do you think that there is the possibility that people would be able to, through playing this game, gain that understanding if people actually are persistent? Do you think that this would help them actually learn how to code or think in a way that allows them to code? Like, is this impossible for dumb idiots like you and I, is the real question.
I don't think it would teach you by itself,
Right.
because it certainly hasn't taught me. The conversations that you have with characters are very funny,
Idiot. Okay, well.
but they're not educational.
Right.
Like, I tried talking to characters. You have this little fairy friend named Bob to chat to about, like, what to do next. And at a certain point, the stuff he's saying is still funny and fluffy, but it's not making any sense to me. You actually need to be looking stuff up and learning things as well to actually get through it. And there's a point where it's like just gone straight over my head. If you're an actual student who had already started learning this stuff, this might motivate you and help you. But if you're coming in cold, then you are screwed.
So you have no interest in learning how to solve these problems then, Jody?
I wouldn't even know how to start. Like, it took me a while to even figure out that it was actually written in Lua, this specific code, which I only got by, like, asking people on a forum, and some dude who was telling me that it's all easy and he wasn't going to help me was like, but Lua is the easiest program. I didn't even know it was written in that.
Man, what a jerk.
Yeah.
So you said that you can talk to characters. Are there other things that you can do other than obviously messing with the code? What happens if a guard sees you? Is there combat?
You can't attack. So you do have a number of hearts that you can lose when you get hit, but really you're just running away and then waiting for them to stop chasing you so that you can go back and try to get past them again, try to solve whatever that puzzle is.
So are there other gamey things like buying things at a store?
No, there are no stores, but you do have the Zelda thing of getting new items that do new stuff, like you get a boomerang, which is just a USB connector you can use at a distance.
Cool.
You get an artifact that lets you slow time, which some of the puzzles involve because maybe there's something you need to throw your boomerang at, but there's a whole bunch of spikes in the way, or there's flames you need to get past. So you slow the actual speed of the game. You're not slowing down time. You're messing with the speed the game is running at, and that can help you get past obstacles.
There's a vision thing as well, right? There's a hat or something?
Yeah, there's a magic hat that lets you see the designations of objects in the world, like your own name and the names of things that can be interacted with. You put the hat on and it's like you can see the code language that designates everything in the game.
Wow. You can also see like the radius of things as well, right?
Yeah, you can see like here's the cone of a guard's vision, here's how their AI works, and here's how they're going to go next.
It sounds
And you
like...
can mess
It
with
sounds
that.
amazing, I think.
Yeah, it's
Even if it's hard to play.
The concept is brilliant.
Yeah.
It's just that about 4 hours in, you'll probably stop.
That sucks, because it does sound like a really, really unique thing. Visually, what does it look like? I'm just picturing Zelda in my head.
It's got a kind of a Ren and Stimpy's fairy tale look. Like, it's the backgrounds, it's viewed top down, and the backgrounds are kind of picture book fairy tale, but the main characters have sort of a rubbery faced animation quality.
So is it appealing, the way it looks?
Yeah, no, it is appealing.
Okay.
And there are some really clever visual things. If you go into the Infinite Woods, it's one of those places where the path keeps branching and you just get incredibly lost because it all looks the same. But while you're walking through, there's this weird thing where the camera seems to be zooming in on you. You don't get any bigger, but the trees beside you on the path do. And as you're walking through them, those trees getting bigger vanish and new trees appear, but they're small and they get bigger. It's like this really disorienting... You know how sometimes in movies the camera zooms in, but things don't get any closer? It's that effect,
Yeah.
that kind of
Yeah,
fractal... And it never stops. The entire time you're lost in the Infinite Woods, you constantly feel like you're falling out of the sky, and yet your size never actually changes.
Creepy.
It's really weird and well done.
So we've been talking about Hack and Slash, which is available for the PC.
Yeah,
Right,
PC,
Jody?
Mac, and Linux.
Any closing remarks, Jody, to sum up?
If at some point they do alter it, maybe, to make it a bit easier, if they make a version for dummies, put in a difficulty slider, because there's no difficulty to choose. You can't tell it at the start, I want easier puzzles, I'm a thicko. If that happens, then go back to it. But otherwise, I can only recommend this game to, like, programmers and programming students.
But of that first 4 or so hours that you could play easily, would you recommend that other people give it a try?
Yeah, but the story's so good that it's annoying that you'll never see the end of it unless you just look up a walkthrough. That annoys me, that upsets me. I don't think games should do that.
Thank you very much, Jody. That's going to bring us to the end of this week's episode of Zed Games, as usual. Thank you very much for listening. We'll catch you guys at the same time next week. Now, next week, we have some games to review as well.
Do we?
Yeah.
Yeah,
No doubt.
I'm about to leap into Wasteland 2.
Oh, I've been playing that.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I guess we're all talking about Wasteland 2.
Awesome.
I'm currently not sure if I'll be here because I have a Borderlands thing actually on Wednesday. So if I am here, I'll be able to talk to you all about Borderlands,
Cool.
Borderlands.
the pre-sequel.
Ooh, cool. Well, maybe if you don't turn up next week, the following week you can
Yeah,
tell us all
I'll
about it.
chat to you guys about it regardless.
Fantastic. We're going to leave you now with one last track. What have we got, Jody?
This is Leeches by local band Velociraptor.